Is the Arana Nation with a very important Ontario PC leadership election update. So, if we look here, we have a case of desperate, fake conservative Christine Elliot supporters making up false accusations about Ontario PC leadership candidate Doug Ford. And if not fake, definitely misleading. We have Susan Fenty Pierce, who we can see right over here, a clear Christine Elliot supporter. Christine is absolutely the best choice. Couldn't agree more, Helen Cole. But this is the meme. And I'm actually going to show you guys a text that Doug Ford actually wrote to me. And I'm going to show it to you right after I explain this misleading meme. So, up here it says, Doug Ford said a center for autistic teens was ruining the community. And then, when the father of an autistic child challenged him, Doug Ford said, go to hell, and accused him of a jihad. So, let's break this down here. So let's go, if we go here, let's read what actually happened. So there is an autistic home, a center for autistic mentally ill children in a certain neighborhood. And what happened is that people living in that neighborhood were complaining, and I guess they must have complained to Doug Ford's office because Doug Ford gives out his phone number. And by the way, one quick thing before I continue with this video, I'm going to give out Doug Ford's phone number because Doug Ford is helping people who haven't got their Ontario PC verification code or voting package. 416-805-2156. That number again is 416-805-2156. It's public information. He gives it out all the time, so it's okay for me to do that. He does it. He gives it out publicly all the time. So there you have it. And he's helping people who haven't gotten their voting package for the Ontario PC. But let's get back to this now. So there's a center for autistic people, and he even says right here that his heart goes out to families with autistic children, but he said this issue is about kids in the residential home who have violent tendencies. I've been a Rotarian for 25 years, helping kids with challenges, but you can't disrupt the neighborhood like that. Anyone who wants to criticize, I'd be more than happy to take their address and we'll put the house right next to them and see how they like it. Now, to be clear, I don't blame him. And the reason, and this is coming from somebody, I have a family of people, many people in my family who suffer from autism, mental illness, and even Doug Ford. I mean, Doug Ford had family members who suffered. I mean, I would say Rob Ford had some kind of mental illness. He used drugs to help himself. I would say, being addicted to crack and that, I would say that's a form of mental illness. So it's not about autism. And I'm going to show you the text in a minute that Doug Ford sent me. But the fact is that, and I understand, sometimes people with mental illness, they tend to go off the handle and they might be disruptive or cause problems. And I guess the neighbors may have called the councillor Doug Ford to talk about this issue. And Doug Ford, being the people person that he is, decided to speak about it. And I'm glad that we have someone in the government who is unfiltered and who will speak his mind and who will address the issue raw. But let me show you the text that Doug Ford sent to me. And I uploaded it on Facebook, and I want to show it to you right now. And it's all over Facebook. I made sure I put it all over Facebook. Here it is. Now, I texted Doug Ford a few days ago informing him that there were certain people supporting Christine Elliot who hate his guts and I would call them fake conservatives, fake, trifling piece of dog doo-doo. That's what I would call them. In fact, they're lower than dog doo-doo. I have more respect for a maggot who eats the dog doo-doo than the people who make up this crap or who mislead crap about Doug Ford. Or anybody for that matter. I mean, we can have our disagreements, but don't mislead and mudsling and all this foolishness about, trying to suggest that Doug Ford hates autistic people when that is clearly not true and you are just being a misleading little cunt. I'm sorry. This gets me upset. But here's the text. Michael, thank you for the update. I was a Rotarian for over 20 years helping families. He mentioned that in the Global News article. I support Arana Foundation and helped raise $700,000 last year for families with children with autism. I have helped endless families when I was a counselor. Ignore the lies. People out there know the work I have done. Doug. That was Doug Ford responding to me, and no other politician has ever done this with me or anybody. And if they do, it's very rare. Doug Ford actually took the time out of his busy schedule to address this. And for all intents and purposes, he shut this fool down. Susan Fenty Pierce, this Christine Elliot supporting piece of trash. And anybody who misleads Doug Ford or makes up stories like this, I would consider worse than trash, worse than garbage, and I am proud to shame this woman. That's right. And by the way, we can even talk about this little issue right here. We can talk about that where he mentioned to the dad to go to hell. Okay. Well, first off, I want to say this. I want people to think long and hard about the people who you've gotten mad at, lashed out at, yelled at, said bad words to, and then I want you to think to yourself, what if that person had a son or a daughter or a mother or father or sister with autism? I'm sure there are going to be many people who disagree with this video, and they're going to send me some long, nasty comment. Oh, Michael, you're a piece of shit. Well, guess what? I have family members who are autistic. You're yelling at me, so you must be against autistic people, dummy. I have an aunt who died many years ago who had epilepsy. So you yell at me, you must be against people with epilepsy. This is what these fake conservatives, and the reason I call them fake conservatives is because this is such a liberal left-wing thing to do. This comes straight out of the page of Antifa and the Me Too movement. A conservative wouldn't do something like this. Now, Toronto councillor Doug Ford is accused, and this is a story that happened back in 2014 here, we see. This happened a long time ago. Toronto councillor Doug Ford has accused the father of an autistic child of being part of a jihad against him and his brother. On Thursday, city employee Tommy Lenathan filed a complaint with Toronto's Integrity Commissioner over controversial comments Doug Ford made in May about the Griffin Centre, a residential group home for disabled youth in the ward. At a community, Doug Ford said the facility ruined the neighborhood. My heart goes out to kids with autism, but no one told me they'd be leaving the house, he said. So, you guys have to think with a little bit of common sense. There's a house, it has people who are not well, they're sick, they're ill. And, many people do things like, maybe somebody lost their medication or something like that. I'm not against houses like this, but I would blame the house people, the people who are running the house. I wouldn't blame the people, and I don't think Doug is either. We're not blaming the people who are in the house getting help. We're blaming the people running the house who are not running a tighter ship. We have people who have families, children, raising. If I have a child and I'm living in a neighborhood, and okay, there's a place helping mentally ill people in my street, and some crazy person comes out and maybe my kid looks at him in a weird way and he fights it, I'm going to think of my kid first, and I'll pick up the phone and call my counselor and complain. And hopefully my counselor will be like Doug Ford and say, this is not right. We have to do something about this. This place has to be run better. Doug Ford did the right thing. He's looking out for his constituents. He has nothing against autistic people. If he had stuff against autistic people, he wouldn't have given his money to help build facilities, to help families with autism. He wouldn't do any of that. He's just doing what he's helping all of his constituents. And I guess this man here must have challenged him. But what happened was that this man was saying, you're anti-autistic. You need to take sensitivity training and all this stuff. And of course that would piss anybody off. Doug Ford, who is a Rotarian, who helps the Arana Foundation, he says to himself, how dare you? How dare you? Go to hell. And the guy works for a union too, so I mean, maybe the guy is on a jihad for against the Fords, because while many union workers love the Fords, the union bosses not so much. But in closing, Susan Fenty Pierce, whoever you are a piece of trash. That's what you are. And I'm glad to shame you all over YouTube and BitChute. You are a piece of trash for making this meme. You know damn well that Doug Ford has nothing against autistic people. You're just misleading people. And I'm glad I got you. And that goes for anybody in any camp who wants to mudsling and make up and mislead. That's trash. You're worse than trash. I would sooner kiss a piece of dog crap on the street than even look in your direction. That's my video. This is the Arana Nation.